Messieurs, mes chers amis, je vous remercie d'être venus nombreux ce soir pour traiter d'un sujet épineux et de grande actualité, puisqu'il s'agit du traitement des alopécies androgéniques par le minoxidil. Depuis des centaines d'années que l'on se penche sur la calvitie des hommes, essayant de trouver le traitement miracle, sans grand succès d'ailleurs, il s'est dégagé depuis quelques années deux nouvelles thérapeutiques. Une première thérapeutique chirurgicale, et c'est avec nos amis les chirurgiens plasticiens que ça a débuté, avec des résultats très encourageants. Puis la découverte fortuite du minoxidil, dont voici sommairement l'historique. En 1962, on a synthétisé le minoxidil. En 69, les premiers résultats chez les hypertendus. En 71, quelques cas d'hirsutisme ont été rapportés. Et c'est en 1980, 82 et 83, jusqu'en 87, que les premiers cas au Liban, et c'est Dr Apolla Karam qui a travaillé le minoxidil au Liban, ont commencé à prendre forme. Eh bien, les deux pionniers du minoxidil au Liban, c'est Dr Apolla Karam et le Dr Kebbe, et je donne la parole à Dr Karam pour qu'elle me... Avant de passer la parole au Dr Karam, je salue Monsieur le Président de l'Ordre qui a bien voulu participer ce soir à notre symposium, et ainsi que son vice-président. Le docteur Apolla Karam va nous parler de son expérience clinique qui porte sur 25 cas de malades traités par le minoxidil.
In fact, before talking about my patients, I would like to talk about the studies that have been carried in the States and in Europe. First, Mr. President of the Lebanese Medical Order, Mr. Chairman, dear colleagues. First slide. The treatment of androgenetic alopecia is divided into two groups. The first group is the medical treatment, and the available drugs that can help androgenetic alopecia are the 5-alpha reductase inhibitors, the progesterone, the cyclopentone acetate, and spironolactone. The 5-alpha reductase inhibitors are a group of drugs which have shown to be highly efficient in the treatment of androgenetic alopecia, but they have shown a lot of side effects. This is why we cannot still use them. The cyclopentone acetate have already proved themselves in the treatment of androgenetic alopecia in the female, not in the male, in that it can stop the process, but it cannot reverse it. By this I mean that the hair loss would stop, but we cannot see the hair growing back, except in very rare patients. Next, please. Now, the different research compounds for the treatment of hair loss are the diazoxide group, the 5-alpha reductase inhibitors, minoxidil, the non-steroidal anti-androgen, the dimethyltranolone, and valprospol. Next, please. The surgical treatment for androgenetic alopecia up till the advent of minoxidil was the only efficient treatment of androgenetic alopecia in the male. And two major techniques can be used, either the autotransplantation through a punch graft, a strip graft, or temporal flaps, or a scalp reduction, where the area affected by androgenetic alopecia is completely excised and sutured. Next, please. Now I'll go to minoxidil. As Dr. Tabet has mentioned already, minoxidil was synthesized in 1963 by Upjohn Company in the States, and in 1969 the clinical trials for hypertension had started. In 1971, hirsutism was first reported reported as a side effect in people who were taking the oral tablets for the treatment of hypertension. At that same time, topically, minoxidil was used topically, and it was shown that it could promote hair growth. In 1979, the clinical trial programs had started, and in 1980, minoxidil was approved in the States and in the United Kingdom for the treatment of hypertension. In the same year, the first report of reversal of androgenetic alopecia in a person who was suffering from hypertension and who received minoxidil tablets was reported. In 1982, 2,400 patients in 27 centers across the states were evaluated for the safety and the efficacy of minoxidil. In 1985, additional studies were carried in the States and in Europe, and in 1987, 25 patients were enrolled in a study in Lebanon, and others were enrolled in studies in the Middle East. Next, please. Now, this is the formula of minoxidil. It has a very complicated name. Next, please. Before going into the studies that have been carried on human beings, I would like to talk about a very important study that has been carried on the stump-tailed macaque. The stump-tailed macaque is a macaque who invariably, at the age of 4 years, would develop androgenetic alopecia, whether it's a male or a female. And the androgenetic alopecia it develops mimics exactly the one that develops in human beings, in the male human being. So it's the best animal model to study androgenetic alopecia. This male macaque is aged 6 years. He has already developed androgenetic alopecia, as you can see here. If you can decrease a little bit the light. And upon the use of 5% minoxidil twice per day, after 3 months, the hair started regrowing. After 9 months, even more, and after 1 year and 9 months, even more. Next, please. Now, this is a female macaque who is 4 years old. She has developed androgenetic alopecia, and after 5% minoxidil, again, 3 months, 9 months, 1 year and a half later, her androgenetic alopecia was reversed. Next, please. Now, this is a female macaque who is 3 years and a half old. She did not develop androgenetic alopecia yet. And 5% minoxidil was started, and after 1 year and a half, she was already 5 years, and she should already have developed androgenetic alopecia. She did not develop it, meaning that 5% minoxidil could prevent the formation of androgenetic alopecia in the predisposed elements. Next, please. Now, this is a male macaque, 4 years old. He has developed androgenetic alopecia. Minoxidil was started, he regrew, and then minoxidil was stopped. And 3 to 6 months later, all the hair that was grown were lost again, pointing to the fact that if the medicine is stopped, all the hairs that are gained are lost again. Next, please. No, there is a problem in the slides. Sorry, no, it's okay. Now, in this same study on the stump-tailed macaque, folliculograms and autoradiographic studies were carried. A folliculogram is a 3-dimensional picture of the hair follicle, where we can see the total number of the follicles, the cyclic phase of each follicle, and the size of each follicle. And autoradiographic studies show the areas of DNA synthesis. Next, please. The folliculograms showed the following. First, there is an increase in the size of the follicle. An increase in the size of the follicle would lead to a thicker hair in diameter. Second, there was a progression from telogen and anagen 1 to anagen 2, 4, and 6. And third, there was a prolongation of anagen time. And both 2 and 3 would lead to a longer hair. And this would explain the reversal from the vellus hair to the terminal hair. Second, the autoradiographic studies showed that minoxidil stimulates the mitosis of the follicular cells. Next, please. Next, please. This is a histological section of a follicle in early anagen in a control macaque. These black dots here, if you can see them, denote areas of TMA synthesis. Now, after the treatment of the follicle with minoxidil, we can see that the black dots have increased tremendously all over in the secondary jaw, in the follicular epithelium here and up, and even here up. This means that minoxidil can promote the TMA synthesis in the follicular epithelium. Next, please. In the same animal, the epidermis was compared, the control and the 5% minoxidil treated groups, and as we can see, the black dots did not increase, meaning that minoxidil does not affect DNA synthesis in the epidermis, but only in the follicle. Next, please. Now I move to the studies that have been carried on human beings. As I have mentioned before, more than 2,300 patients were evaluated in the States, and around 350 were evaluated in Europe, and for the time being, around 250 are being evaluated in the Middle East. Most of the patients were evaluated for only 1 year. All the studies that have been carried outside were double-blind studies. The concentrations used for minoxidil were 2%, 3%, and placebo. The patients using placebo were shifted to 3% after 4 months. All types of Hamilton scale were included in the studies, and the patients were monitored and were followed up closely by their doctors. Now, pictures were taken at the beginning of the study and all over, and hair counts were done every 8 weeks. Next, please. All of the studies showed essentially the same results. Now, this is a graph of the number of the villus hair in these patients. All 3 groups had an increase in the villus hair from the beginning of the study up to the 4th month, up to the 5th month, and then there was a plateau. Next, please. The indeterminate hair started increasing after around 1 month, only in the 2% and the 3% group. And then they reached a plateau after the 4th month. The placebo group did not show any significant increase in the number of indeterminate hair. But when they were shifted to the 3% group after 4 months, they picked up and the number of indeterminate hair rose again, reaching the level which was reached by the previous groups. Next, please. The terminal hair did not increase up till the 4th month. And after the 4th month, they started increasing progressively to the 12th month. And this is why usually we don't see any cosmetically acceptable results in people treated with minoxidil except after the 4th month. Next, please. Now, as I have mentioned, most of the studies have been carried for only 1 year. Few studies were carried over. This study, for example, was carried for around 2 years. 54 patients were enrolled, and the number of terminal hair at baseline was 45. After 1 year, in a bald patch, in a 2.5 centimeter bald patch only. After 1 year, it was 140, and after 2 years, it was 200, meaning that the number of terminal hair will keep on increasing after 1 year, although to a lesser extent. Next, please. Now, this is a physician and patient evaluation of hairy growth after 1 year when we choose the whole population, when we include all types of Hamilton scale. There is a dense growth which is expected in 8%, a moderate growth in 31%, and then a minimal to no growth in the rest of the person. Now, this would lead to around 40% good regrowth when we choose all Hamilton scales. Next, please. Now, in these studies that have been carried, the blood concentration of minoxidil was calculated for both the 2% and the 3% group. And the mean blood level for the 2% was 0.58, while for the 3% group it was 2.18. And since the results in growing the hair were similar, and since the 3% had a much higher blood level, the 2% solution was chosen to be the best solution for the treatment of androgenetic alopecia since the blood concentration was much less. Next, please. Now, all these patients were monitored for their vital parameters. And as we can see here, the blood pressure, the heart rate, and the body weight did not change significantly, did not change at all, in fact, compared to placebo. Next, please. Now, these are two pictures from the States. This patient, after 8 months, has a dense regrowth. This, after 8 months, has a rather moderate regrowth. Next, please. Again, this person had a rather dense regrowth. An important point is that the hair starts growing at the border of the voice patch first, and at the end, it fills in the center. Now, this patient who had a frontal recession had his frontal recession filled after 6 months, and this is very unusual because the frontal recession is the most difficult area to respond to treatment. The area that responds the best is the occipital area. Here. Next, please. Now I will talk a little bit about the study that I have been carrying here in Lebanon. I have chosen 25 adult males aged between 20 and 50. They were all healthy people. At baseline, an EKG, an echocardiogram, a chest X-ray, and blood tests were done. Pictures were taken, and vital signs were taken too. And the pictures were taken at 0 week, at 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and then every 8 weeks. Now, hair count was done every 8 weeks in a 2.5 centimeter bald patch, and all my patients belong to the 3 or 4 Hamilton of my patients because my study is not over yet, but I will show you a few of the pictures, and I also have a few of my patients around tonight. Next, please. Now, this is a young man who presented to me complaining of acute hair loss. He told me that his bald patch was increasing rapidly. And I started him on 2% minoxidil. Next, please. And after 6 months, you can see that there is no regrowth. He did not respond, but that his bald patch did not increase in size. So he was very happy, and he's still very happy. Next, please. Now, this is a patient at 4 weeks. I will show you mainly patients at 4 weeks, not at 0 weeks, because we could take them in a better manner. Next, please. And this is 24 weeks, after 6 months. Next, please. This is at 4 weeks. Next, please. And this is at 8 months. Next, please. This is at 4 weeks. Next, please. And this is at 8 months. Next, please. This is at 4 weeks. You can see that the bald patch is really visible. Next, please. And here I cannot really delineate it anymore after 8 months. Next, please. This is at 4 weeks again. Next, please. And this is after 8 months. Next, please. And this is at 4 weeks. This is my best patient. Next, please. And this is after only 6 months. Next. Now I will mention a little bit about a study that has been carried on people who underwent hair transplant surgery for the treatment of androgenetic alopecia. Usually, every patient who undergoes a hair transplant surgery would develop telogen effluvium. Telogen effluvium means a diffuse hair loss over the scalp around 4 to 6 weeks after the operation. So 12 patients who underwent this surgery were chosen to start on them minoxidil in the concentration of 2% 2 to 3 days after the surgery. And out of the 12 people, 2 people did not develop telogen effluvium, and this was not reported before in the literature. And 2 people had their hair regrowing less than 4 weeks after the operation, and usually they are expected to regrow their hair only 2 to 3 months later. Next, I think. Thank you.
La parole à Dr. Québec qui va parler du mécanisme du minoxidil.
Thank you again, President of the Lebanese Order of Physicians, distinguished colleagues and audience. After you have heard about physiology of hair growth, the pathophysiology of androgenetic alopecia, and the results with the clinical trials with 2% minoxidil as well as 3% minoxidil worldwide, I think it is timely to discuss the mechanism by which minoxidil acts on regrowing or allowing the hair to shift from villous to terminal hair over the scalp of hair growth. Among other things that when I introduced the subject, there are many other drugs available, but minoxidil is the one that is commercially available, while the others are still under experimental investigation. Next. Now, exploratory in vivo and in vitro studies designed to determine the mechanism by which minoxidil stimulates hair growth in patients with male pattern baldness have not been successful in exactly delineating or definitely demonstrating the mechanism of action. Several hypotheses have been advanced. These include, next, blood flow effect. The increased hair growth obtained by the topical application of minoxidil is possibly brought about by enhanced blood flow within the dermal papilla. Indeed, minoxidil does increase blood flow when applied to the surface of the skin, but it does so at higher concentrations than are available commercially or that are needed to stimulate hair growth. Thus, this mechanism alone may not be the mechanism that is responsible for hair growth, since higher concentrations are required. Next. Now, the second effect which has been advanced is the mitogenic effect. Minoxidil may directly influence the growth of keratinocytes in culture by enhancing their survival and increasing the length of time that these cells could be held at confluence before they are passaged again or recultured. This effect of longevity, of extending the length of time, could be considered analogous to maintaining hair bulb cells in the anagen phase and thus allowing them to grow for a longer period of time instead of a shorter duration and thereafter falling like in androgenetic alopecia. Next. Now, the third mechanism is the vasodilatory effect. Minoxidil has long been known as a potent and long-acting vasodilator. Because of its delayed hypotensive effect and short plasma half-life, it was suggested that the presence of a metabolite may be responsible for such an effect. This metabolite was recently identified from patients who have taken the oral minoxidil, and it was identified and isolated from the liver, and it was minoxidil sulfate and the close interaction between the dermal papilla and the epithelium. The stroma being the dermal papilla and the epithelium being the follicular epithelium. Next. Now, a key feature of minoxidil as used to oppose the androgen-dependent, genetically programmed, progressive miniaturization of the hair follicle must be to maintain or enhance normal dynamics of the essential stromal epithelial interaction. That minoxidil, when applied, and the cosmetic results that are obtained, does not mean that there is generation of new follicles, but rather reversal of this process of miniaturization and not the creation of new follicles. Next. Now, the cosmetic effect of normal human hair growth as such is a function of two things: the thickness of the hair shaft and the maximum obtainable length. Next. Now, since it is presumed that the hair shaft diameter is a function of matrix volume, now the matrix is the pool of cells that would be responsible to give rise to the hair shaft. If this volume of matrix cells that would give rise to the shaft is higher, obviously the hair shaft diameter would be sturdier and longer. It is deduced that the tryptophobic effect or the positive effect of minoxidil on the hair shaft is related to an increase in the hair matrix volume. Okay? Now, although minoxidil may increase blood flow to the scalp, exert a mitogenic effect on the follicular epithelium or on keratinocytes, and enhance the stromal epithelial interaction between units of the hair follicle, other mechanisms may be operative. Now, it has been recently shown that minoxidil inhibits prostaglandin I2 formation in keratinocyte culture, inhibits the synthesis of glycyl hydroxylase in cultured fibroblasts, and acts as a potassium channel agonist in smooth muscle, in human smooth muscles. Such effects, seemingly not important and have no bearing on hair follicle physiology as such, may be responsible for the induction of hair growth and may prove to be of beneficial value in the trichotrophic action of minoxidil. A receptor for minoxidil has not been identified in the dermal papilla or in the hair matrix epithelium. But it is the conclusion of many investigators who have done basic work on the mechanism of action of minoxidil that the beneficial effects of this drug, when applied topically, are produced by an interplay or synergism between the previously discussed mechanisms. Thank you.
Chairman, dear audience. Slide, please. Before talking about how to choose the patient, I would like to talk a little bit about the biopharmaceutic studies on 2% minoxidil. When a 2% solution of minoxidil in the dosage of 1 cc is applied over the scalp, only 1.4% would reach the circulation. Second, if the minoxidil is applied twice per day, the second day, after 36 hours, the minoxidil reaches a steady state level in the blood. Third, after stopping minoxidil, 95% is cleared within 96 hours from the urine. Fourth, the larger areas of minoxidil application would produce a higher systemic effect. And there is little chance for toxicity if the patient uses it more than twice per day. Next, please. Now, what are the side effects that can be expected with a 2% minoxidil solution if used in a dosage of 1 cc BID? If the person is healthy at the beginning, and I really point to this fact because all the studies that have been carried on normal human beings who are not suffering from heart disease or any other problem. The vital signs did not show any significant change. There was an itching over the scalp reported in around 3% of the people, but this never necessitated to stop the medicine. In fact, I had many of my patients who complained of a little bit of itching and then it cleared away. An allergic contact dermatitis is reported in 2%, and hair growth outside the treated areas is reported in 2%. Next, please. Now, the recommended procedures for the use of minoxidil is first that the hair and scalp should be dry prior to application. This is why I instruct my patients to, if they want to take a shower, to take it 1 hour before the application of minoxidil, or 3 hours after the application, because if they take the shower before 3 hours, all the minoxidil that they have applied will be lost with the water. 1 ml of minoxidil should be applied twice daily to the total affected area of the scalp. Next, please. Now, this is the best person to be treated with minoxidil. If we want really very good results, our patients should be maybe in this category. This person has a bald patch less than 10 centimeters diameter. He has a small frontal recession. Next, please. So we are expected to get 55% cosmetically acceptable results if the balding process has been going on for less than 5 years, if the balding vertex area is less than 10 centimeters, if the balding process is equal to or less than Hamilton 4, as I have shown in the previous slide, and if the number of indeterminate hair in a 2.5 centimeter bald patch is more than 100. Thank you.
Je remercie Dr. Afrola Karam pour son exposé et en conclusion, Comme vous avez pu vous rendre compte, c'est un traitement qui porte beaucoup d'espoir, mais évidemment, il faut le continuer peut-être à vie. Et probablement que nous aurons par la suite des traitements qui pourront donner encore plus de résultats. Et j'ouvre la place aux discussions, si quelqu'un veut poser des questions. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions à poser? Oui? Dr. Sawaya?
I would like to ask Dr. Jordan, is
Oui?
there any prospective study for how long post-treatment minoxidil can be stayed in the emergency? For 5 years at least.
I did not please get your question. If the
There is a retrospective study.
yes,
For 5 years at least,
for regain,
for regain post-treatment at least.
post-treatment. All the studies that I have came into were carried for up to 3 years. I don't have results for more than 3 years. I'm sure there are studies which are going on still for more than 3 years, but the reports are not out yet.
Oui? Haussez la voix.
The maintenance dose, he's asking about the maintenance dose, if it should be twice per day or once per day, if it has been studied. Yes, it has been studied and it was shown that the maintenance dose should be twice per day, not once per day. Because even with once per day, we can see some hair loss again.
Oui?
What about the use of minoxidil in female subjects?
The use of minoxidil in women, I cannot give you results for the time being. Studies are being carried now in Europe and in the States. What I can tell you is that a lot of women are buying the products in Europe, maybe more than males. The major side effect that we can be facing is that minoxidil can produce hirsutism in 2% of the people. So if this holds true in the female, we are afraid of this side effect. But I cannot give you any result for the female yet.
Oui?
Pas dermatologue, je
Oui.
voudrais poser une question. Pourquoi c'est le front et cette région et non pas les régions temporales qui fait le plus lourd tribut dans l'alopécie?
He's asking why you have androgenetic alopecia here, not here. Genetically speaking, when we said that to develop androgenetic alopecia, vous voulez que je vous réponde en français?
Répondez-lui en français parce que...
Pour que l'alopécie androgénétique se forme, 2 facteurs sont nécessaires. Premièrement, la prédisposition génétique et deuxièmement, la présence des androgènes. Maintenant, lorsque l'on dit la prédisposition génétique, ce qui a été prouvé, c'est que les cheveux dans cette région de la tête chez l'homme, pas chez la femme, sont sensibles au DHEAS, je m'excuse, long et épais, comme il le fait là, ou bien sur la barbe, ou bien sur le reste du corps, au contraire, produit un duvet. Et c'est seulement cette région qui est affectée. C'est pourquoi nous pouvons recourir à la transplantation des cheveux, en enlevant des cheveux par là et en les mettant dans cette région. Et les cheveux ne tombent pas, parce que les follicules qui sont présents là ne sont pas sensibles à ce DHEAS.